Well, hello and welcome to the 197th episode of the Brian Hornback Experience, brought to you from the Old Forge Distillery Podcast Studios. Yeah, the barrelhead's not in the background right now. Still trying to figure out how to do that at this point. Got the American flag now. Got the infamous Kaz Walker taking a swing. Got the infamous Kaz Walker price-cutting shears right there. And, of course, got the JB. That's for Justin Biggs, Knox County trustee. Go Biggs, go home. So that's what we got in the background right now. Got to get that Old Forge in here somehow, some way. Old Forge Distillery is in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. You can also find it in all adult beverage locations. And they have vodka, rum, moonshine. They have whiskey. They have a reserve that's 90 proof. They have another one that's a special reserve. They've got something, some new stuff coming out. Going to be redoing the bottles, I think, on some of their stuff, on some of their creams and things, possibly. Anyway, Old Forge Distillery, thank you all for being a part of BrianHornback.com, the Mega Bullhorn of Truth. Those of you that notice, and most of you, some of you do, some of you don't. Apparently, I sneezed too hard one day this last week and popped a blood vessel. It does not hurt, and I can see. I can see you. So don't worry about me. I'll get over it. Just wanted to kind of, I've been teasing that the podcast is coming back. It is back. This is 197. And it's coming back because the legislature's back in session. They went back in session back like January the 12th, 13th. Had the state address this past Monday, which was February the 2nd. And so things are getting ready to ramp up in Nashville. Things are getting ready to ramp up here in Knoxville and Knox County. We got one more solid week this week. And then we get to about 4 more days of the next week, and that'll be the filing deadline for the local races, for the county primary races that are happening on May the 5th, early voting starting on April the 15th. I want to bring you up to speed on a few things. City Council, as y'all know, they had a change with 5 new members. They were sworn into office back in December. I believe it was December the 20th, if my recollection is accurate, if my recall is accurate. And so they're starting to find their way, the new council. School board had a pretty interesting meeting that if you'll check out the Mega Bullhorn of Truth, BrianHornback.com, if you'll check that out, probably tomorrow morning. This is Super Bowl Sunday, by the way. This is February the 8th. They are just now flipping the coin. I've got it on right over there. And I'll be off here before we have kickoff. And it is heads, it appears. But just want to talk about some things that are going on with the school board. The PAL community has been talking, advocating for a new school for Powell Elementary School. It's kind of landlocked. It's kind of small, and it's got a growing population. Probably overcrowded, I believe, is what they said. Steve Triplett, the school board member, former vice chair of the school board, I've been on the school board now for 4 years. He's up for re-election, May and August. May in the Republican primary, August in the general, where he, as the Republican, will take on a Democrat. Right now, he's unopposed in the primary, and as a politician, that's the way you want to go, right? You want to go unopposed. So the PAL community has been advocating for some type of change. They want to get rid of the portables. That's obvious. And the solution that was presented on Thursday night, February the 5th, is a rezoning, and rezoning them to about 4 other schools: Amherst, I think Ball Camp, Carnes. Those will all be in the next post on BrianHornback.com, the MegaBullHornOfTruth.com. And so there'll be some meetings later in the month of February, some community meetings, and then it'll be coming to the board for a vote in March. Interestingly enough, they just don't see that the growth in the PAL community, at least through the initial studies that they've done, and I'll link to the school board meeting where they presented the option of rezoning. That's just not there's just not enough that would warrant building a new school, and so this is the solution to rezone kids to other elementary schools around PAL. So, I know PAL, every community is very dedicated to their community. So for the PAL community, they would be PAL Panthers. But now you're going to send some out to Corns Elementary, and then you're going to send some to Amherst. You're going to send some to Ball Camp potentially. So you're going to send them to these other elementary schools, and I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and rewatch the meeting. I'm not sure if they're going to keep those feeder patterns together, which means that if you go to Corns, you're going to end up going to Corns Middle, Corns High. If you go to Amherst, Amherst kind of feeds into Bearden Middle, Corns Middle, maybe Powell Middle. So do those kids that get zoned in kindergarten or first grade to Amherst, are they now going to go back to Powell? So normally those meetings, as a former school board member, those meetings, especially rezoning meetings, are not great. I even went through one back in '99 before I ran for the school board. They were going to take one little pocket and not have it. It was to go to A.L. Lotz Elementary School, K through 5, and then it was going to feed this one little pocket with like 2 subdivisions. Well, it was 3 subdivisions, but because there was an assistant superintendent that lived in that one subdivision, they put it in West Valley. So you had 2 little subdivisions that ultimately got moved to Farragut Middle. So you had basically 2 subdivisions that went to A.L. Lotz K through 5, and then they went to Farragut Middle. And granted, those 2 subdivisions still went on to Farragut High, but they left their elementary school friends to go to Farragut Middle, Farragut High, whereas everyone else went from Lotz to West Valley to Bearden, right? So anyway, it was enough of a change for us, and we were in a smaller house at that time, a house that when we purchased it, it had we had 1 child and we ended up with 3. And so we ended up moving into the zone to where our kids would go A.L. Lotz, West Valley, Farragut High School. And so that worked for us. But after that move, then they, while my kids were still in middle school, they then zoned us to Bearden out of Farragut. But because we were able to provide our own transportation, they were able to stay at Farragut High School. So, that's kind of how it goes. But that's my history of it, right? So that's going on. You got some school board races going on. As I've already mentioned, Steve Triplett is not opposed in the Republican primary. Cat Bike, well, first we got Steve Triplett. He's in the 7th district. In the 9th, Christy, the board chair, is up for re-election. She does have a Republican opponent, an elderly gentleman who's probably retirement age, and so she has an opponent in the primary. She also has a Democrat in that race as well. Triplett right now has no opponent in the Republican primary, but he does have an opponent in the general. Then we have in the 6th district, Betsy Henderson, as you know, has served a term and a half or 2 terms on the school board. She's running for county mayor, right? And so she's running for county mayor, so that seat's not filled. So Kevin Crato, I believe is how you say his name, he's running as a Republican. Right now, I believe he's unopposed. And there's a Candace Collins who's running as a Democrat. And then the 5th district, Lauren Morgan is not up for re-election this year. 4th district, Cat Bike, very, very liberal. Democrat, does have a Republican opponent, Ashley Sartell. So I am interested in Ashley. I believe she has some connections to West High School. I believe her husband is involved for life. So looking forward to that race. Then in the third and the second, they're not up, but in the first, Dr. John Butler, he does have opposition in the Democrat primary, and we are searching for a Republican to run in the first district. So that's going on in County Commission, both the seat 11 and 10, the at-large seats, so you got to run county-wide. Both of those are up for re-election and are up for election. Kim Frazier, who's in seat 11, she is running for mayor. She's completed her first term. Larson J., who's in seat 10, he served 2 terms, so he's term limited, so he can't run for commission again. So he's running for county mayor as well. So you got 3 people running for county mayor, 2 that are at large commissioners, Kim Frazier, Larson J., and of course Betsy Henderson, the former school board chair and school board member from District 6, which is Hardin Valley Corns. And then you also have in District 7, that seat is open because first-term Commissioner Rhonda Lee is running for judge. She's an attorney, so she's running for judge, opposing General Sessions Judge Andrea Klein. And so you have a former Republican Chairman Buddy Burkhart. You have a current Secretary of the Republican Party, Barry Beeler, and you have a former young Republican President, Justin Mash. All those 3 are currently running the Republican primary. I don't believe there's a Democrat in that race yet. And then in the 3rd district, County Commission Chair Gina Oster is running for re-election. She's being opposed by a Moms for Liberty President, Sherry Super, and then she too has a Democrat mortgage finance type guy. So more on those later. Countywide, let's run through those real quick. County clerk. County clerk is Richie Beeler, who's a former commissioner. He's the fairly recently deputy county clerk. He's running. Former property assessor John Whitehead's running. Rodney Lane, who served 16 years as operation director, manager of the county clerk's office, is running for that seat. That was 16 years, about 12 years ago, maybe, back during the Mike Padgett era. And so those 3 are running for county clerk. Criminal court clerk, circuit court clerk, those are unopposed. They're running for re-election. They're unopposed at this point. Emily Abbott, our new criminal court judge that Bill Lee appointed, she has no opponent at this point. Hopefully she will have no opponent and will continue to stay on the bench. She's doing a great job. And then Register of Deeds. The register, now follow this, the register that was a deputy register back before 2007, Sherry Witt, she served as the register from 2007 to 2018. 2018, she became county clerk. She served there for 8 years, and now she's running for Register of Deeds again. In almost 50 years, there's only been 3 Register of Deeds. And so those of us that were involved in bringing term limits back in 1994 as a voter referendum went out and got the signatures, put it on the ballot, had it passed. And then, of course, term limits didn't take effect until 2006 because of litigation. We really didn't envision this seat hopping thing that's going on, but it's going on, and it's going to be up to the voters to say, term limits were meant to limit you. And not to have you continue to jump seats. Interestingly enough, the liberal socialist newspaper thinks it's a great idea. They've basically endorsed it last week. More on that in future podcasts. But when you're reading stuff in the daily paper, just remember their voting records are Democrats. They want Democrats elected to office. So the best way, my opinion, the best way for their Democrat candidates to get elected is for them to promote something that gets the weakest Republican to be the nominee. So while they may be printing today that these are the few people who run Knox County government, which I disagree with that. They're not out there spreading salt. They're not out there. Plowing the roads with snow when we have snow. They're not out there in sub-zero degree weather while making sure that the convenience center's open so you can dump your trash. They're not at the library. They're not at the health department. Anyway, but that's Allie. Straight Democrat voting record since she's been here. Came here from Missouri by way of Virginia. More on that later. Anyway, so that's the Register of Deeds. Trustee, my boss, Justin Biggs, only served finishing up first term, 4 years, and more on that race later. But he's being opposed by the current Register of Deeds, who's seat hopping. He served 2 terms from 2018 until this coming August. He'll have served his 8 years. He's been in the courthouse since he was a junior in high school, was a high school intern at the assessor's office, then an intern at the registrar's office, got a job at the registrar's office right out of high school. So he's been there ever since. And then obviously the big races are the sheriff. We have 4 candidates. All 4 have some connection to Knox County Sheriff's Department. Bernie Lyon, our friend who passed away in December. When he passed away, David Ambern, one of the current chief deputies, he stepped up, and so he's been running since basically January 1st. And Brent Gibson, also a former deputy chief who's retired, who's over the SWAT team. He's running. A gentleman by the name of Mike Davis. He's actually State Representative Elaine Davis's husband. He served a few years in corrections in the Sheriff's Department, and then went on to work for the DEA, I believe, Drug Enforcement Administration. Had an extensive service of duty down in Louisiana, but he's retired from the feds, and so now he's running. And then the former Sheriff Jimmy Jones is running as well. Obviously, we've already touched on the county mayor's race, and I think that's all of them for May. Early voting starts April 15th, runs through April 30th. Hope y'all will tune in to episode 198. Should be up by the end of this week, and y'all be sure to check out BrianHornback.com, Mega Bullhorn of Truth. Again, it's thanks to the Old Forge Distillery Podcast Studio. We are very proud of our friends up in Pigeon Forge. Please drink responsibly. If you can drink responsibly, please don't, and certainly don't drink and drive. I don't want my friends at the Sheriff's Department to catch you and put you in the jail for a good 48 hours, and I don't want that on your record. So again, thanks for tuning in to episode 197, and we'll see y'all again real soon.